So here's the last bit. We have two special cases. So the first case is that if the absolute value of x is less than or equal to k, and this k number happens to be a negative number, then no solution exists. So it's basically empty. Nothing exists. There's nothing. If this absolute value of x is greater than or equal to k, and k is a negative number, then all real solutions exist. So basically it's from negative infinity to positive infinity. Now let's see why that is the case. Okay, so why is that true? So you can pause the video and write this down because this is really important. Let's look at case one. So let's say we have the absolute value of x being greater than or equal to, not greater than or equal to, less than or equal to negative 3, because that's what we said. If k is a negative number, like negative 3. Well, think about it. This is a negative number. The absolute value is always a positive number. No matter, so whatever you plug in there, you're always going to get a positive. Can a positive number be less than a negative number? No, that can never happen. That's why this one's no solution. Okay, so when you encounter something like that, you immediately have no solution. Now, why is the other one all real solutions? So let's say absolute value of x is greater than or equal to negative 3. Okay, well, think about it. This thing is always positive. So regardless of whatever number I put here, I'm always going to get a positive number. Even if I plug in 0 in there, 0 is always going to be greater than a negative number. So it doesn't matter what I plug in here, it's always going to be a positive when I put the absolute value, and a positive number is always greater than negative number. So that means any number that I plug here will always be a solution. So this is from negative infinity to positive infinity. You can write the positive if you want, but I'm so used to it. Okay, so let's just do two quick examples. You don't really need to do any work for these problems. Once you notice that this is no solution or infinitely many or all real solutions, you can just write that down. So let's say we had two absolute value of 3/4 x minus 1 minus 2 is less than or equal to, I don't know, let's say this was a 4. And let's make this negative. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, let's first solve the problem directly because there might be a solution here. So let's add 2 to both sides. So you're going to have negative 2 absolute value of 3/4 x minus 1 is less than or equal to 6. Okay, now let's get rid of this negative 2. Negative 2 to both sides. This goes away. I have absolute value of 3/4 x minus 1 is now, since I divided by a negative, I'm going to switch the sign over, greater than or equal to. This is going to give me a negative 3. Okay, now notice there's a negative here. Okay, so is it going to be no solution or infinitely many solutions? Well, let's look at the cases. Well, if we look at the cases, since we have a greater than sign, greater than a negative number, is going to be case 2, because that case 2 you have greater than a negative number. When that happens, you have all real solutions. So here you don't even need to do the problem at all. This is going to be negative infinity to positive infinity. That is the answer. You don't need to do anything. Okay, it's just a special case. Okay, and now let's do one more problem. Let's say we had absolute value of 2x minus 1/4 plus 3 is less than 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and move the 3 over, so minus 3 to both sides. So you're going to have absolute value of 2x minus 1/4 is less than negative 2. Okay, now what case is this one? Well, because we have a less than and a negative sign here, this is going to be case 1 because that's what we have there. So if k is a negative number, no solution exists. So here we can write no solution. Okay. And that's the answer for that. So these two cases, immediately when you see a negative number after the inequality, after you have isolated the absolute value, that's when you can see which case we actually have. Do we have all real solutions or do we have no solution? Okay, and that's it for this module.